This is a place for planting, for digging, for harvesting, for relaxing. It's a place to get your hands dirty, but most of all, it's about having fun. And that's what you'll always have when you're in the garden with Doug Oster. You want a green thumb too, don't you? I've lived on this property for 18 years, and it's funny the things that make you discover a plant. I was backing a giant truck up this driveway, and I saw this native sedum here, and you can see he ran right over the plant. But I want to put this in a location where I'll be able to see it a little bit better. Well, I don't know if you can see it, but the job I did backing him up wasn't so good because tire tracks came right through here and right through this beautiful native sedum. And I've got some of it growing up here, and there's some growing on the bank down there, but I want to bring it up to an area where I can see it a little better. Now, I wouldn't normally move a plant while it's flowering, but sedum is really tough, and if I don't do it today, it'll be next spring and I'll be seeing this blooming and saying, oh, you know, I meant to move that. And you can see that it's just in kind of a little mat on top of the rock, so it doesn't need much. And so I'm going to just put it into here temporarily, and we're going to move it up into a container up in the garden, and from there we'll let it get established, and then later on in the season we will move it to its permanent location closer to the house. Well, I thought one of the cool things about this sedum was that it was blooming in just part shade, part sun, and that's what I'm going to put it in here. Since it doesn't need much, I'm going to use this hypertufa container, so it has really good drainage. And I'm just going to take that mat that I scraped off and just kind of place it on here and let it root. And then, like I said, one might even leave it in this. It looks good in this, but I'm going to put some of this out into the garden once it gets established, and we'll do that in the fall. I'm going to move this one back into here. Then meet me in the greenhouse. Well, I hope you listened to me and did not put your tomatoes, peppers, impatiens, or other tender crops in, because we got some cold weather this week, and we might get some before the end of May. And so these are still in the greenhouse. Hopefully you have some maybe on the windowsill. And since the trees have started to leaf out, these are starting to stretch. You can see they're just not getting the light that they want. That's okay. I always love to pot them up into a bigger container, and the trick on tomatoes, and it's really only with tomatoes, is you can plant them deeper, and then where these leaves were will all become roots, and that's what we're going to do. We're just taking them up to the next bigger container, taking off those bottom leaves, putting them in here, and then adding a little bit more mix on top. And I'll tell you what, these are going to go nuts, and I'm going to take some of them out into the cold frame, but not out into the garden yet. Still a couple more weeks away from that. Important also, remember to label your plants when you move them, because all tomato plants look the same. All right, meet me out in the garden. I'm going to finish up here, and we've got something interesting we're going to do with a fig tree. I can't wait to pick tomatoes. So just these 4 plants are coming out of the greenhouse, and we're just going to put them right in here. This is a cold frame that when it does get cold at night, we can give them a little bit of warmth by closing that. They're going to get used to being out here, which is called hardening off. And then when we do plant them in the garden, they're going to be nice and stocky and ready to go. Now, right behind you is going to be a surprise, because we're going to unwrap the fig tree, and I have no idea if it's alive, dead, or leafing out. We'll see. Well, I can already tell it's alive. It's alive! Because there's a little piece sticking out, but I want to see what kind of shape this is, and I've never done this before this way. And we'll see if we can get this out without messing up the tree. We'll have lots of straw left over, I know that. All right, let's see what comes off. Oh, there it is. Leafed out. I don't know if you can see it. It's filled with figs already. And this early crop of figs is called the Breva crop, B-R-E-V-A. And that means if we're lucky, we're going to get figs by July, and it'll put on another crop. All right, I'm going to cut this open, and then we're going to finish up. This is thrilling. Spring is such a magical time in the garden, and here it's these giant rhododendrons, which I inherited in this garden. It is so wonderful to have a mature specimen like this and others. Now, check me out online. That's where you can find more garden stories, videos, blog posts. You can follow my trip to London and reporting on the Chelsea Flower Show, and also become a member of my Seed of the Month Club. Now, until next week, I'm going back over. I'm going to check out that fig. Needless to say, I'm excited. We'll see you then.